Hi there, I'm Alicia Malone. Welcome to TCM Imports, where we take you around the world with a double feature of international cinema. Tonight we have two films by Italian director Michelangelo Antonioni. Soon we'll see La Ventura from 1960, but first, from 1966, it's Blow Up. This was Antonioni's first entirely English-language film, the first in a three-picture deal he made with producer Carlo Ponti and MGM. The story unfolds over 24 hours in swinging 1960s London, following a fashion photographer played by David Hemmings. One of his candid shots becomes the most important of his day, capturing something suspicious and potentially dangerous. Also in the cast are Vanessa Redgrave, Sarah Miles, Jane Birkin, and look out for the band The Yardbirds playing in a nightclub. See if you can spot Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page. David Hemmings later called Blow Up probably the critical event of my professional life. It was a breakout role for him, following dozens of small parts in television and films like St. Joan from 1957, directed by Otto Preminger. Hemmings was excited to work with the renowned Michelangelo Antonioni, even learning some Italian so he could converse with him. As a result, Hemmings wrote in his autobiography, "Italian is now my second language, and Rome is my favorite city." Hemmings also wrote in his book that he later learned Terence Stamp had met with Antonioni to discuss the role in Blow Up, and that Stamp believed he had it. He never signed a contract, but he had put off a lot of work to film Blow Up, and he was upset when he learned that David Hemmings had been cast instead. "I've never met Terence," Hemmings wrote, "but I fear he's never forgiven me." Featuring a wonderful jazz score by Herbie Hancock, let's travel to London in the 60s with Blow Up. It's hard to sum up the influence Blow Up has had on cinema. Francis Ford Coppola's The Conversation was clearly inspired by it, as was Brian De Palma's Blowout. Even upon its release, critics recognized it as something special. Andrew Sarris wrote at the time, "It is possible that this year's contributions from John Ford, Carl Dreyer, Alfred Hitchcock, Claude Chabrol, and Jean-Luc Godard may cut deeper and live longer, but no other movie this year has done as much to preserve my faith in the future of the medium." Blow Up screened at the Cannes Film Festival, where it won the prestigious Palme d'Or, and it received 2 Academy Award nominations for Best Screenplay and Best Director. It would also be Michelangelo Antonioni's most commercially successful film, reaching a wider audience than his Italian movies, and it has remained the most famous of all his films. Blow Up also helped to erode the old production code in the United States. Thanks to its racy content, the film was released without the production code seal of approval and did just fine. As Time magazine put it, the film helped liberate Hollywood from its puritanical prurience. Stay watching TCM Imports because we have another fantastic film by Michelangelo Antonioni coming up for you, a 1960s psychological drama starring Monica Vitti as a woman whose best friend goes missing during a trip to the Mediterranean.
Next on TCM, La Ventura. Then Andy Hardy gets spring fever. And later, Andy Hardy meets debutante. Get acquainted with TCM today.